Ooh. Everyone, Del21 here. It's pretty cold out right now. It's going to get even colder throughout the week, so I figured I'd get a jump on what I got to do. I went to go put my Ram's body harness in. But what ended up happening was there was the harness I have is for a 2014 or 2016, I can't remember, Ram 1500, still a crew cab, but it was an SLT model, and mine's is an ST, which means it just doesn't have all the equipment. And the way they're making cars now is that if you don't have that option, you probably didn't have the wiring to even add that option later. So I'm adding the SLT harness to my truck, and I had additional wiring, and I have double checked the wiring to make sure that the wiring for the baseline model, which is what I have, matches pin for pin on the other connectors. So far what I did was that it bothered me that there were so many extra wires. But this was before I actually went and looked through my pin for pin. I started putting the wire harness in, and then I thought about it. What it was is that the airbag modules for the Ram SLT and Ram ST are different for the curtain airbags. The plugs are different. So I plugged everything back up. I took it to I had it towed to the Dodge dealership, which is only maybe a mile to a mile and a half from my apartment. I had them take a look at it to see if I was on the right track with everything I was replacing. And basically they told me exactly the same thing I already knew. They were going to charge $2,300 to replace the body harness, the receiver hub, and the dash harness. And I told them I already have a dash harness on the way, and I already have a body harness. And I ordered the the RFH receiver hub already. Actually, I already had it. I just hadn't put it in yet. And I ordered the wind module. So the only thing they could find so far was the fact that the truck wasn't getting any power. But I can't show you now because I've already got it unhooked. So far, what I've done is I have the carpet that's in the back. I'm keeping that in the back upside down, and it's been raining and cold lately because I don't want it in a hot, humid, dryish area to create mold. So as long as it's raining and it's cold out, by the time my harness gets here tomorrow, I can vacuum that. Vacuum the foam. If I can, I'll just replace it. The rear harness, though, the rear one, I can vacuum it out. I'm going to do that next. Or I might just pull the insulation off of it. I don't know. I will see. But right now, this is where I'm at. What is that? I'm trying to remember. Oh wait, these screws don't go to this truck. It goes to the other Ram, my other Ram. The pins that go here where the RF receiver is, those pins break when you pull them off. So what you end up having to do is try to basically go back to Mopar and get the same pins that'll break again, or you can use self-tapping screws into the sheet metal and spray that so it won't rust, which is what that is. The reason that's zip tied over there is because, like I said, this truck is an ST model, so it doesn't have all of the fittings on it. So I zip tied that so I can actually push pin those into the sheet metal where they have their pins in. But like, here's the harness that goes to the impact sensor. But where is it? All right, there it is. This plug here goes to the, if it was the SLT with the flip up with the premium rear seat, it would have a light underneath the cubby. And that's what that goes to. I do not have that feature, so it has to be zip tied to the old harness until I either upgrade to that harness, or, you know, whatever I decide to do. Even if I don't decide to upgrade to it, I still need to clean it up. That's what the zip ties are for. The harness is 90% replaced. This is the new harness. It's already going in. All of this is the old harness. This is the new harness, isn't it? Yeah. That's the new harness. This is the old harness. Everything on the ground, that's the old harness. It's basically pulled everything up to, I've got it pulled all the way up to the dash. Everything up to the dash has been removed. The new harness is already up to the dash. This is everything that goes underneath the hood, and that's what goes underneath that, and that's what all this is. That's the stuff that goes inside. I'm waiting until all of that stuff on that side's been plugged in. The plugs that go underneath there are in. The entire floor harness is in. As far as wiring harness wise, the airbag, which I'll explain that in a second, because that's what gave me hell with the SLT harness. Everything from the steering wheel on back for the truck, for the wiring, is done. The only thing I'm waiting for now is the dash harness, so I can pull these three, the drop steering wheel, get the two 10 millimeters out of that. Get the panel that goes to there's two clips that are bolts that are underneath plastic covers up there on both sides. Those have to come out to get the two 10 millimeters out of that. I think there's two 10 millimeters there, one on that side, one on that side, and there's on that side it's different. There's a bolt here, there's a bolt here, and the bolt is in and on the back side of that. And then the dash just pulls out and comes down. I think I'll have to unplug those, but I just plug those back in so I can know where they go. And then I'll have to pull the grab handles, and then the wire harness can come out. And then when I pull that out, I can pull the what do you call it? The handbrake, and I can actually slide the new harness for the floor behind that and inside of it, and then ready to rock and roll. And then I can put the dash harness in. Like, I wish I had started this before I did this before I started. Right now I'm at my stopping point, so I'm just gonna put that back in the truck, the old harness. Like literally I can close the doors and everything now. I've had all the doors open. That's the harness that goes in here. That's part of that harness. The other harness drops straight down, and there's a body connector underneath here that goes down there. Oh God. Underneath here, that's where those other three, those different colors, the green, the blue, and the gray, go underneath the box. There's a black one as well, which should be fine, that goes over to here, that goes to my ECU. The Dodge dealer pulled my VIN and said that my truck does not have a transmission control module. It's part of the ECM. So my ECM is supposed to be my ECM, EPS, and my TCM, which I have a spare one of these in case I need it. I do have another computer in case I need that. My only concern with wiring are two things for this truck. One is that ABS module, because of where it's located. and the other is the electronic steering. Those are the only two electricals that I'm concerned about. I am looking into whether or not I may or may not need a I am looking into whether I may or may not. Is there anything blocking that? Okay. Wait, there is something blocking it. Oh, it's the seat. Where does that go? Oh, it goes to the blocking the seat. Hold on, I gotta get the seat out of the way. Is that our way now? Yes, okay. But let's lock the ram back. Okay. We'll lock that ram back. We're gonna take that inside at some point. We have to lock this, don't we? Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to lock it with my key. What was I saying? Ah, son of a crock. I don't like closing the tools up when I have them missing. I know where these tools are. They're on my ratchets and everything, so it's not like they're like gone. But I just locked that. I just locked it. I'm hoping that I don't have to replace either one of those two. Like I said before, I do have the premium cluster that's going to go into that. The issue that I'm having right now, I do have power throughout the rest of the truck, but I don't have power everywhere. So that's why the harness has to be replaced. There is no power to the ECM, so I can't communicate with the ECM to program keys for it yet. I do have a key, but it doesn't recognize it, obviously, because the ECM doesn't come on. I don't know if the computer is bad or not, because there's no power being sent to the ECM. I back probed the computer. Well, for shits and giggles, I back probed it. I didn't really need to back probe it, because I checked the fuse that goes to the 10 amp fuse that goes to it, and it didn't have power going to it. So I figure, okay, if that doesn't have power going to it, one of two things is happening. It's not getting it through the dash panel. See, there's two instrument plus. There's two harnesses in the truck, the main harnesses. The body harness, which goes inside the truck and outside the truck, and then you have a dash harness that goes inside the truck and outside the truck. The dash harness also has it's actually called an instrument panel cluster harness, which goes to your headlights outside as well, which is why it goes in and out. But the instrument panel one does not go outside to the computer first. Well, yes, it does. In retrospect, it kind of does. But it also bypasses going outside and goes to the back of the truck, which is where the RFH receiver sits. The RFH receiver runs on the body harness, which is why now when I put the key in it and turn it, it powers on, but it doesn't send power anywhere because it doesn't send any power outside of the truck. And to send power outside of the truck, I need to replace the harness to actually diagnose. So basically, I took it to the dealer and paid $100 for them to tell me two things. One, something I already knew, that the wire harnesses would have to be replaced. And did you know there was water in the engine? Yeah, I told you it's a flooded truck. I kind of knew it had water in it, so I need to know electrically what's wrong with it, not mechanically. Well, they say, well, you need your harnesses replaced. And you need your RFH module replaced. That was the key thing that I needed. The RFH module. I did buy the RFH module, but I never put it in. I also bought the WIN module, but never put it in. The reason for it is because I didn't know where it went. When you go looking through the wiring diagrams, and category diagrams for modules, it does not come up as a RFH receiver. It comes up as a I can't remember. it comes up as like a assembly of other parts. It comes up as assembly for other parts. It does not come up for the RFH module, and that's what messed me up with knowing where it is. And I asked him, okay, where is this harness at? I mean, where's this harness for this module? And he told me over the phone before I came up to get the truck. It's behind the seat. Oh, it's behind the rear seat in the upper part where if I had the keyless go system, that's where it would be. Is it? Oh yeah, well yeah, that's where it would be. Okay, I said, all right. Then I said, is it a 4x4 module? He said, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. I said, well, I already have that module. It's in the truck. Okay, so I put that in, and the truck lights up and everything now, but I need the other harness to light up everything else. So we'll see what happens. But that's the update right now. I have made significant progress from what I had. Still waiting on a couple parts, but basically what I was doing, the dealership would have charged $2,300 for, and so far I'm only okay. I'm wondering why my truck's shaking when I do that. I'm wondering why it does that, because see, on my Ram, my other Ram doesn't do that, but this one does. And then I just remembered that this truck has the coil suspension in the rear, not the leaf springs. I just remembered. But the dealership told me that basically what I was already doing, they would have done. I already have my own scan tool that does what the dealers does, except programming. I may have to take to them for the program the body control module though, but we'll cross that road when we get there. So far the flood ram has been fun. I haven't run into anything hard except the like I said before, the only thing I've ran into that's hard on it was, well, not hard, which was sort of not plug and play, was the curtain airbag for the truck is different for the plug-in. Wiring's the same color, but the plug-in is different. So I had to cut the wiring harness for both of them and actually transplant the old wiring harness plug for the airbag to the new one, so it would actually plug and play. But so far everything's been plug and play. Looking at the wiring that's left, that's plug and play as well. Just waiting on the dash harness. That's what I've been checking. I have to check something on the dial, but other than that, that's everything. Let you know when anything else happens. Hoorah.